What's going on, gamers? So, we're about to cover Xbox fiscal earnings this quarter, and I have to say it's not looking good. And this is what I mean by you can do all these other little things like the little logo and reverse and do this and that and say all this little stuff on Twitter, but what does that mean if the results are not showing? And even the CEO Asha has spoke on it and admitted that. That's what I like about her. At least she's saying that. But you know, when you're already so far into the grave and in the mud, it's bad when you can't show anything positive growing, because when you drop so negative, it's hard to go even more negative. But this hardware, boy, I tell you, it just keeps finding a way to find a death beyond death. And oh man, no, I'm not laughing at it. It's just like, it's embarrassing. Like you want to see some growth here. And if I was leading and I looked at this, I'm like, the only way to reverse this is to not be slow and keep the prices the way that they are. Nobody wants to buy Xbox. Nobody wanted to buy your console at $500. And you can subsidize because you're $1 trillion corporation. You know what I mean? If you want to see some positive change and growth, which we're going to get to this post here in a second, you seriously need to think about reversing things. That's what I was trying to tell everybody, that when I was making those videos, like, you could say all this, but show me some results that you're actually growing. Like PlayStation just embarrassed Xbox again when I was posting that video. You see what I mean? Everything is down again. This is not good. Windows OEM devices revenue down 2%. Gaming revenue overall, that means all the multi-platform, everything, you're still in the negative. Guys, do you know that this is revenue? They're not giving you the actual deduction of how much it costs to make those games too. Hey, I'm just saying. Xbox content and services revenue down 5%, and hardware revenue down 33%. Yeah, that's an Xbox is dead title. Like, seriously, because it's like, you're not getting any growth. How could you afford to go exclusive with this? And you haven't been selling anything in the past 3.5 years. Like, period. It's been terrible. I don't want to see this. I'd rather see growth and more competition versus PlayStation. I think it's better that way because it's more healthy, and that makes people want to compete and develop more, because you have a threshold to me, right? It's like, oh man, they're getting in my face or whatever, so my game's got to be this good. I can't just dump my stuff on a service. So we got to be, we got to be elite minded in a sense of like, in a unified sense of like, we have to make this good so we can make 200 million profit off of this. Not, let me just hand you this paycheck and put it on the service, like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Do you think those places have the same quality as a fully cooked organic restaurant? No, not even close. That quality is going to be way better. The buffets are not going to make the most money on the planet. Guarantee you. And you guys know what I mean. So, and the quality is not going to be that good. It's going to take down everything. Everybody knows that. So, when it comes to Xbox, I mean, I feel like when I look at Asha, she has good intentions. I have no problem with her. But the problem lies into how much damage was already done to the brand. How far it is down into the grave. Like, it sucks. It's going to be, once again, another impossible job to take on. You see what I'm saying? Like, Phil Spencer, when he was in that position, you have to understand, he was competing with the head-to-head Sony. There was actually competition going on. There was things to actually take on. There was development departments to run. There was new development departments to take on. There was trips you need to take to Japan and do all that to compete. Show up at all the E3 stages every single time. Get along with all the other people. Like, the competition that he was taking on, though he's made his mistakes, was significantly more than somebody coming in when it's already dead and you're already defeated and Sony basically went on and Nintendo is the only thing left, if you get what I mean. It's not the same. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Now, if Asha would have been there like at 2014, 13, and then all the way to now, it would have been different seeing what you would have been able to take on. What she's trying to take on now is something where it's like, you don't actually have to compete against PlayStation like that. You can't anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, how are you going to do that? If you somehow found a way to do that, that would be insane. But you guys will get what I'm saying. Like, it's really hard to think of her as getting in there and doing a better job than Phil Spencer. It does not work like that. You have to really see how much he was taking on prior to that. Because I see a lot of posts that people are saying, I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. She's never going to have to take that on. It's not what you think, and nobody would have not done a better job. It's not what you think. It's very tough, honestly. So going over to her post, and we can look at some comments too. This is what she said about this. She said, Xbox earnings today. While we have made progress expanding the business and our margins, player and revenue growth has not yet met our ambition. I mean, yeah, you have to say that because this is the biggest problem. We know we have work to do to earn every player today and into the future. That's the best thing you could possibly say. She's a nice person. She's not going to be an ugly person. And she's not going to say anything competitive, in a different sense, because it's not like that. You know what I mean? You have to think of it like this when I say that. Did she build things from the ground up? Like all those studios, did not do any of that. Like I said, did not travel yearly, monthly to do what Phil Spencer did to get that in that place and to try everything you possibly could because you were trying to compete as hard as you could. You just couldn't beat Sony. You know what I mean? After that Don Matrix stuff, it's like, good Lord. And look at the Xbox 360 era. Built up stuff. Xbox original. Built up stuff. To build up an entire generation and to lead it competitively against another competitor and have to make all those decisions, she's never going to have to really deal with that because the Helix is not going to be a next generation console that's going to try to sell 30, 40, 50 million with tons of exclusives. You know what I mean? If you weren't there, you're not going to fully ever understand that. So that's why I tell people today, do not try to make it seem like she's coming in like some female Jesus or some female Gabe Newell that's going to come in and change the whole thing and then make it all way better, and all of a sudden millions of Xbox consoles are selling, 10 million copies are selling with exclusives being there, and it's right back in PlayStation's face. I'm telling you right now, ground your expectations. There's nothing wrong with liking her. I actually think she's a wonderful person, but do not deceive yourself again, because this is just going to be another cult fanatic delusion that is going to happen. And a lot of people think that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to see Xbox do better. I have no problem with that at all. I would like to see it do better. Hey, if that miracle could happen, hey, what would be wrong with that, right? I think it would be better to see it competing again with PlayStation. But if we're going to look at things realistically, and somebody came to me in the room and said, hey man, we got the smartest people in the world here in the gaming industry. I want your analysis. Be real. Do you think this is possible? I'd be like, no. The reality is that they need to be a strong publisher, and they need to get their service up and growing. Services growing through subscription, and publishing growing as strong as possible. Just because these stats right here, because this is a thing going on right now, right? This is kind of like when you look at PlayStation results. Think about this, guys. When you look at PlayStation results on Steam, you're kind of seeing something here a little bit similar. The difference is Microsoft needs this. They can't afford to take this away, as if they went back to their platform, like Sony is saying they're going to pull back our first party exclusives. But you can stand on your own. You still made 98.5% of your revenue over the past 5-6 years. Xbox is not doing that. You put all your games day and date. You cannot do and play the PlayStation games right now. Because if you fail as a publisher, you lose a significant amount of money. If you fail on Game Pass, you lose everything, because all you got left is being a strong publisher now and having Game Pass do well. It's not that Phil Spencer was wrong about that, or whoever else was pushing that with them. It's just that you needed to be successful because your market is dead and you can't sell any more hardware. So you guys are thinking that this CEO is going to come in here and make Xbox consoles sell somehow before the end of the generation, before the Helix launches, an extra 15 million at least? Do you think that's possible? Look at these prices. You'd have to even test it. The best thing you could possibly do, and I want you guys to think about this, is before GTA comes out, you would have to put the Xbox Series X at like 450 and the Series S at 200 and subsidize for that window and get millions and millions of people in your ecosystem to kind of counter the PlayStation launch, because PC's not going to be there. And put some Game Pass there, but even then, if you don't, your Game Pass is not going to help GTA. You know what I mean? No, people are trying to get GTA 6. So your remedy is going to be like, and think about it, guys. Right before GTA launches, Xbox consoles are $150 off or something. So that $650 is going to go to like $500 or $200 off to $450. Just for that short window, and get all those consoles to sell out and mass stack them. And then you have people in your ecosystem that can transfer over to wherever you're trying to lead them next. I don't see any other solution. That's what I said. How are you going to move hardware? You have to do sales. You have to subsidize. It's not going to hurt your company. You're one of the very few companies on the planet that is going to be like somebody throwing popcorns at you. Is it really going to hurt you if somebody threw a popcorn at you? A little popcorn thing? It's like, you know, not a popcorn seed. Don't do that. But you guys kind of get what I mean. Like, it's pennies to you. If you want to grow and subsidize, this is what gaming has always been about. Because you're in a world now to where you can make tons of more money compared to back then, where there was no microtransactions, where there was no third-party MTX vampiring, where there was no putting all my games on this platform and getting this much money back. This is almost 6 million. Sea of Thieves was 2.7. Oblivion was 1.2. Could have been better though. Usually Bethesda games, man, you would see Bethesda being up here. This is the embarrassing part, because it's like, if you look at Starfield, obviously they're not going to show the stats because they can't. Grounded, Gears of War Reloaded, that's not too bad for Gears of War Reloaded. Doom the Dark Ages, this should be a couple million. This is what you're doing on PlayStation. It's not good. This is terrible. This is terrible. Sorry, Starfield is here, actually. Yeah, you know what? This is Annalena, though. You know, we probably don't have 100%, but it gives you an idea that Microsoft almost made 700 million off of PlayStation already. I was thinking it should have been $1 billion, at least. But you're getting to that position where it's like you could make $1 billion just off of PlayStation. Now, imagine if you made 500 million off of Nintendo, and you made 500 million off of Steam. You almost made $2 billion being a third-party publisher, plus what you're doing on your platform. Guys, I think this is the only reasonable thing for them. If you wanted to try anything, it's huge titles that are not day and date on Game Pass, and having a 3-month exclusive on Xbox, and having a 3-month exclusive on Steam, and then going to PlayStation after to see if you can build that image, because you're syncing with them anyways to come on your platform. Helix, which is not going to even sell 10 million. I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm just saying it just kind of reminds me of the OEM aspect with ROG Ally and kind of like the Steam Deck and Steam Machine situations, because you're not making a platform that does not already exist with those options on PC that people can do right now. It's already there. And if they want to spend that much money, they will go do it. Obviously, yours will be cheaper, but you kind of get what I mean. It's kind of the same thing again. How do we get player and revenue growth? Key word here, too. Did you see her say console growth? She never mentioned the consoles. Well, if you want to put this here, right? But, you know, I mean, what else? Because we're just getting more players, more console sales. But she still didn't say that. Because players could mean like Game Pass, sales maybe at my community on PlayStation, people joining more stuff on Steam for Xbox games or stuff on Windows, but she didn't say console player and revenue growth has not yet met our ambition. So obviously it is about revenue growth and player growth. Tim Dog says, Asha exclusives and bet on yourself. Adidas coming in. Shout out to Adidas. He's a homie. Xbox and more regions would be a great start. Yeah, I agree with him on that. You have to expand as much as possible. Shake up the industry and make gaming online free again. I mean, that's cool. And watch the console sell itself. That automatically will give you a huge one-up on PlayStation. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know, man. Free online, a custom Game Pass model. I think this will happen, you know, obviously with the Helix because it's going to be a PC. A custom Game Pass model and focus on exclusivity would be a huge selling point for Xbox. But when you say exclusivity, do you realize if you don't get those sales, you're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars on all those games? Satya is not going to go for that. That's a subsidizing where it's like, no, Microsoft's like, oh, shut that down then. See what I mean? Unless you're saying you want to include Steam with that and you're just not putting anything on PlayStation and you're sharing with maybe Nintendo or something. Because when I seen people say that, I saw like PC and Steam and all that included in it. I'm like, no, exclusivity means that it's only on Xbox. But if you're going to push that, then you have to build the next device to be exclusive to, and it can't be a PC then. Maybe if you want to have hybrid options, but the first thing is going to be console exclusivity. But if you're going to do that, you need to sell millions and millions and millions, and the thing's going to have to be like $500. You see what I mean? How are you going to play this game if you're not going to be able to get the results and Game Pass tanked your market and nobody buys games on Xbox like that? You're shooting yourself in the foot. Like, it's not going to work. So don't make the same mistake Sony has made this generation with the PS5, but it's selling over 100 million. And they made more than ever, revenue-wise. Why does this only exist over here on this side like this? This slowness. PlayStation 5 is massively successful. Even though Sony made some mistakes, but they will never kill their industry. They'll never kill their console. They'll never kill their market. They stand on their own. And they extended the Steam, and that showed a 1.5% benefit. So I'm just trying to get you guys to understand that even though exclusives are attractive, and that's the thing that does matter, Microsoft put Xbox in a position that makes it impossible to go exclusive again if you're only talking about on that console. You see what I mean? You're in a Sega situation. How could you do it? You're going to have to test the waters with Forza. No, that's going to be on Steam. It's not going to be on PlayStation. You see what I mean? Imagine if you said Forza only on Xbox. The scary thing is not moving hardware if you do. What if nobody's still buying your consoles? That's scary. That means that you're going to be losing all that revenue and all that profit. You could have spent $250 million on that game, and you only made $50 million because nobody's buying nothing on Xbox. If you get lucky to do that, you lost $200 million. Now you're going to have to make up for that again. Where are you going to find it at? You're going to do the same thing again. It's a dangerous game because they're in a just a terrible situation. Like I said, it's another impossible game, another impossible job to take on. That's why I say we have to really be careful and think about this. I don't see it, man. And I'm just being realistic. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about this. Do you think that Xbox should try exclusivity again? But what do you mean by that? Meaning only on that console. But if you're saying with Steam and PC, then you're not truly exclusive there, because that's like Nintendo going to Steam and saying it's still only console exclusive. They ain't gonna do that. You're crazy, right? Because now you're playing all their games on higher settings. Then you're looking at the device and saying, why do I need you? You see what I mean? Like, either way, it's like either I'm trading my identity for more money, or I'm already doing so well. Like Nintendo, they sell more than PlayStation and Xbox put together, first party wise, and putting stuff on Steam. That's how freaking good they are. So if you're that good, you could do that. It's the same thing with the iPhones. Exclusive only to Apple, but they sell 100 million plus every damn year. That's the game. But if you could do it, if not, then, you know, you got to put on that Master Chief shirt. You see what I mean? Yeah. Hey, no, man, I'm just saying. Like, I don't see how you can find your way out of this. Unless you somehow saying, because we have so much money, we're going to try to subsidize and play that game. We'll see if we can move more hardware. Or if so, then you better put it on sale for $450 for the Series X, or at least $500 again, where nobody was buying it because it wasn't working, and the Series S needs to be $250 or $200 during that window. I'm just saying, what do you want, Microsoft? You have to decide. Either way, there always has to be a sacrifice. It's just the way this game works. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Peace out. Keep gaming no matter what platform you're on.